Hi, my name is Yona Gregory. I'm a landlord attorney in Connecticut, and I wanted to do a video just to summarize what's going on in eviction law today, being October 1st of 2020, post-COVID. Everything's changing day to day, and we have a new order from our governor extending the eviction moratorium, and it's very confusing, so I just wanted to outline it for everyone so that we get a simplified definition. So the Executive Order 9E has been extended by Governor Lamont as of last night, which means that eviction moratorium is extended through the end of December, except for certain circumstances. That's the confusing part. So let's go over the exceptions. Again, eviction moratorium is extended by Governor Lamont as of today through December 31st, meaning you can't start an eviction against your tenant until January 1st, according to this new rule. And there's 4 exceptions. The 4 exceptions are this. If you have a tenant who didn't pay rent prior to February 29th of 2020, that would be an exception. You can start an eviction against that tenant. If you have a tenant who is defined as serious non-payment, the governor's made that definition up. It is a tenant who owes 6 months of rent since March of 2020. So it has to be 6 months of unpaid rent. If they didn't pay March, April, May, June, July, and August, that would qualify as 6 months of unpaid rent, and then you can proceed with a notice to quit for serious non-payment, even if they're not consecutive months. So that's the second exception. The third exception is for serious nuisance. So serious nuisance is defined by statute, and you have to make sure that whatever your situation is that you think is a serious nuisance that can be a reason to evict a tenant, make sure it fits into the statute, because if you start an eviction, it's not really a serious nuisance. According to statute, you're just going to waste time and money. So serious nuisance is another exception to the rule. The last and final exception is if you are a landlord and you have a bona fide intention of moving into this residence as your principal residence and the tenant does not have a current lease. So tenant has a month-to-month lease and you really are going to move in as your principal residence, that would be an exception. You could serve a notice to quit prior to January 1st. So those are sort of good news, but the bad news is with the exceptions, according to this new order, every notice to quit has to have a certain CDC temporary halt residential eviction attachment. So basically, when you serve a notice to quit, attached to it is a piece of paper that talks about the CDC moratorium and has attached to that a affidavit that the tenant can fill out. If they fill out this affidavit basically stating that they are affected or were affected by COVID in a negative financial way, they give you that affidavit. Once they do that, it stops the process and you cannot proceed no matter what until after January 1st. So, the takeaway is this. If you serve a notice to quit and you attach this document to it, telling the tenant basically fill this out and we will not evict you until January 1st, most tenants are probably going to fill this out and they're going to get the extension through January 1st. So even though there's exceptions, you may want to just wait till January 1st, given the fact that if they fill this out, which they likely will do, they will be afforded till January 1st. You cannot proceed. So that's something to remember. The other thing I want you to understand is that the new notice to quits that you can serve under the exception are not just the fill in the blank ones that are from the judicial website. There's additional language that needs to be on there in order to validly fall under the exception. So if you don't do the notice to quit right, then again, you're wasting the time and the service cost from the marshal. So make sure you get an attorney or someone explains it to you so that you properly identify the reasons on the notice to quit why you feel it goes into the exceptions. So that's the summary as of today. As you know, things are constantly changing, but pretty much we're looking at January 1st for most evictions. And thank you. Reach out to me if you have any questions at evict, EVICT, at yonalaw.com, EVICT at YONALAW.com.